Imagine a lush, suspended garden built inside of what seems to be the shell of a hollowed-out meteor, its edges smooth and molten like folded silk frozen in time. Above, clusters of peculiar flora glow faintly in shades from warm peach to pale peppermint. The soft scent of fresh rain is constant here, mingling with the sharper notes of wet stone and sassafras leaves. Sprigs of gypsophila rise along the meteor's curved edges, accompanied by pillars of lilies that stretch upward into the garden's obscured ceiling. Beneath soft bridges made of rhododendron vines, a babbling brook flows impossibly uphill, the surface of its water glistening with iridescent ripples that mirror shifting constellations. In one corner, a flurry of plush toy critters, small lambs with twisted yarn horns and lambent eyes, gambol in a game of wordless charades, their movements gentle yet strangely mischievous, tilting their tiny heads as if guessing riddles spun by unseen winds. Beyond them, where the brook climbs impossibly toward the heavens, a cascade of luminous teacups tumbles like a frozen waterfall, steam rising from their brims to form ghostly shapes of birds mid-flight. Each cup changes color as though enchanted, shifting from pale jade to smoky indigo, their porcelain exteriors etched with amorphous constellations twinkling faintly. Tucked along the edge of this suspended wonder is a table shaped like a crescent moon. Its surface, glassy and reflective, holds mirrored versions of the teaware placed upon it, cups carved like delicate lotus blossoms and teapots resembling nests cradling silver eggs. The air here is rich with a symphony of scents, crushed lavender swirled with orange peel, chamomile tangled with cedar. Above, ribbons of iridescent fog drift lazily in circling arcs, as if conducting the silent orchestra of the garden's serenity. From the shadows of a paper ficus tree, its broad, once folded leaves illuminated faintly by the curving rim of the crescent table, a marionette fox leans smugly against a cup as tall as itself. It studies the gentle swirl of tea inside, its thread-bound nose twitching thoughtfully. Too many moons in this garden, the fox muses aloud with a voice pitched like parchment crackling. A star now and then wouldn't hurt. No balance, all melodrama. Past it, the height of the garden folds into a suspended lattice walkway wrapped in glowing honeysuckle vines. Each pulse of light from the blossoms hums faintly, as if the air is alive with soft whispers of delight. Carved into the vines are alcoves, each holding tiny umbrellas fashioned from stitched petals, sunburst yellows, water blue violets, and coral pinks layered into spirals. From these alcoves, floating lanterns drift outward, their waxy surfaces soft as melted butter yet glowing like gemstones, casting intricate patterns onto the gauzy mist curling at ground level. A companionable duo meanders along the lattice's edge, a panda in a fitted vest carrying a tray of sugared strawberries dusted with pale gold and a tassel doll dragging along an absurdly oversized tea tin, its shoulders stooping dramatically. Next time, I'm picking the tin, and it won't be the size of a dirigible, the doll grumbles, tugging ineffectually. Between the tea and your fondness for showy entrances, I'm practically unraveling. The panda pauses, adjusting its tray, before eyeing the doll with round, bemused eyes. Consider it an exercise in stitching character. Besides, it murmurs, nodding toward the cascading teacup waterfall, all the dramatics are outdone by this garden anyway. Isn't envy just charmingly futile here? The doll sighs, flopping onto a bench carved like a satin ribbon. Remind the magic how to conjure reasonable teapots next time. At the far edge of the garden, an ancient trellis spills downward into another realm of curious lights, candied hues that gleam unseen promises. Around it, glowing wisteria rustles against phantom breezes, their tendrils dipping low to touch vines before slipping upward once more, an endless cycle of its gentle magic. With each push of warm air, the harmony of the chimes braided into its frame echoes, soft yet deliberate, a whisper urging wanderers to follow. The scene, wrapped in its quiet flourish, seems hesitant to end, as though each shifting light or curling vine wished to be admired just a moment longer. Somewhere, a harp's notes brush against the lilac-scented air, framing the quiet. Imagine a garden suspended in a state of perpetual early twilight, an ethereal space tinged with pearly silver light breaking like whispers through a filigree canopy of pear-shaped leaves. Each leaf shimmers faintly, as though dusted with powdered moonstone. The air smells crisp, like juniper mingled with fresh thyme and faint trails of white tea. A tinkling serenade of glass chimes sways in tune with a breeze so gentle it seems painted into existence, its rhythm carrying the occasional hum of a celestial harp. At the heart of this haven, a fountain of straw braids spills rivulets of golden liquid, pooling into a pond dotted with floating candle flowers that glimmer with lavender-tinged flames. Imagine a gazebo nestled within an infinite maze of liana-laced arches, each tendril thick yet delicate, tracing patterns that seem on the cusp of forming an ancient language. The space feels alive, the vines vibrating softly like music coursing through their veins. Their flowers, ranging from saffron marigolds to snowy paperwhites, release shifting scents with each passing second. One moment, the fiery sweetness of frangipani; the next, the minty sharpness of basil. Tables shaped like towering lily pads hover just above the wild, gem-cut gravel floor, shimmering in pearly greens and pinks. A harp-shaped topiary rests quietly in one corner, its leafy strings singing on their own as skipping chipmunks with oversized silk bows ferry porcelain plates of jelly cubes to unseen guests. Imagine a greenhouse rising like a cathedral of silver mist, its panes of glass frosted with fine swirls that catch and refract dappled light into impossible rainbows. Vines the color of watercolor blues and greens cascade downward like living curtains, swaying as if possessed by secrets shared in concert. At its center, a miniature bonsai garden perches atop a floating island made entirely of fabric scraps stitched to mimic the textures of moss and bark. The scent of gardenia drifts lazily, mingling with the sharp tang of grapefruit rind. Nearby, a collection of talking yarn balls performs an impromptu puppet show about the life cycle of a tassel doll, to the mixed amusement of the porcelain foxes reclining on shelves. Imagine a glasshouse veiled with pale tulle curtains that drift like friendly ghosts with the whisper of a zephyr's touch. Each step onto the beaded floor beneath evokes the irresistible crunch of frost-kissed leaves. The tables here are hewn from ice embedded with ancient fossilized blooms, their kaleidoscope hues shifting with the tea steam curling upwards.